What if I told you America passed the greatest civil rights law in history, then watched Harlem burn 2 weeks later? July 2nd, 1964. President Lyndon Johnson signs the Civil Rights Act into law with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. standing behind him. The most sweeping measure for racial justice since Reconstruction. Discrimination based on race, color, sex, religion, nationality, all illegal. With one signature, segregation was officially dead. 2 weeks later, a 15-year-old black boy was shot dead in the street, and Harlem exploded. July 16, 1964, Upper East Side, Manhattan. James Powell, 120 pounds, 15 years old, was standing outside a building with friends. A white building superintendent sprayed them with a hose, told them to move. According to eyewitness testimony compiled by civil rights organizations, Powell chased the superintendent inside. Off-duty police Lieutenant Thomas Gilligan, 6 feet tall, 200 pounds, 16-year war veteran, heard the commotion and ran to the scene with his badge and gun drawn. What happened next depends on who you ask. Gilligan claimed Powell lunged at him with a knife, said he fired a warning shot that hit a window, then fired 2 more shots in self-defense, killing Powell instantly. But multiple witnesses told a different story. They testified Powell had no knife. They said he threw up his right arm defensively. They claimed both Gilligan and the superintendent shouted racial epithets at the teenagers before the shooting. Roy Wilkins, executive secretary of the NAACP, captured the community's rage. They can explain until they're blue in the face, but they'll never explain why it's necessary for a police officer to shoot a 15-year-old kid. Here's the brutal irony. The Civil Rights Act made discrimination illegal on paper. But it didn't change the police who killed black children in the streets. It didn't change segregated housing in Harlem. It didn't change unemployment. It didn't change poverty. The law said equality. The streets said otherwise. July 17th. Nearly 300 black students from Powell's summer school threw bottles, cans, and cement blocks at police. The anger was immediate. 2 days of peaceful protests followed. Then, July 18th, Powell's funeral. Temperature hit 92 degrees. 250 people attended the service. That night, Congress of Racial Equality held a rally. Reverend Nelson Dukes told the crowd to march on the 28th Police Precinct. They demanded Gilligan's suspension. When protesters arrived at West 123rd Street, police with nightsticks were already waiting. Somebody threw a brick, then a bottle. Then all hell broke loose. For 6 consecutive nights, Harlem burned. Then Bedford-Stuyvesant in Brooklyn. Historical records document over 4,000 people participating. They smashed windows, looted stores, set businesses on fire. Police waded into crowds swinging nightsticks. Rioters threw debris from rooftops. By July 22nd, when it finally ended, 1 person was dead, 118 injured, 465 arrested, $1 million in property damage. 2 months later, a grand jury cleared Gilligan of any wrongdoing. He maintained Powell lunged with a knife. No charges, no consequences. Just another dead black teenager and a city in flames. And here's what they don't teach. This wasn't just Harlem. The uprising triggered what historians call the long, hot summer of 1964. Within weeks, riots erupted in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Jersey City, Paterson, and Elizabeth in New Jersey, Dixmoor, Illinois, near Chicago. According to historical documentation, it became the most violent summer of urban rebellion since 1919. The Harlem Uprising proved something devastating. You can pass all the laws you want. You can sign historic legislation with Dr. King standing behind you. But if police keep killing black children without consequence, if segregation remains in housing and employment, if poverty crushes communities, the law means nothing. President Johnson understood this. According to White House archives, the night he signed the Civil Rights Act, His aide found him depressed despite the historic achievement. Johnson reportedly said, "I think we've just delivered the South to the Republican Party for the rest of my life and yours." He was right about one thing. The law changed. The system didn't. James Powell was 15 years old when Lieutenant Gilligan killed him. Powell's death lit the fuse. But the powder keg, segregation, police brutality, economic injustice, had been packed for decades. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 was revolutionary. But Harlem's message 2 weeks later was clear. Paper rights without real change are just paper. If this history matters to you, share it. Comment which part shocked you most. Follow Ikamafuna History TV, because understanding the gap between law and justice is how we close it.